This is Josiah
Let me get my
Plays
music running.
Dungeons and Dragons. This is beneath the... No, it's not. This is the Shattered Crown with DM Scito, a 5th edition Dark Sun campaign. With me are my fellow players Nox and Tim, and our Dungeon Master Scito Optionum. And we are ready to go.
Alright. So,
Hey, son.
you three have been traveling through the deserts of Tyr, namely the Great Alluvial Sand Wastes. You, before leaving, of course, you spread your characteristic chaos in Tyr, getting a poor guy fired from his gainful employment.
I'm sure he's doing well, though, now that he has that nice The Fall Guy business set up.
Sure.
Yeah, we built a brand for that guy. You're welcome.
In any case, you also traveled across the sands of the Great Alluvial Sand Wastes and had a bit of a run-in with some burn flowers, but aside from that, it was mostly safe traveling. Oh, burn flowers. I'm gonna get so much use out of you.
Nice.
Can you defile off of burn flowers, not?
That's an interesting question.
Yes,
I would imagine.
He could, yeah.
Justify.
Oh, just because they wanted to basically shoot heat beams at you. Alright.
If I wrote off anybody who wanted to shoot heat beams at me, I wouldn't have any friends at all.
Anyways, you have been given a task by Ven, specifically seeking out who's been causing the disappearance, or rather the attacks on caravans leaving Kled. Yes, Tim as well. And as such, you have now arrived in the dwarven town of Kled. As you crest the next dune, you see it. One sec.
I don't have Chaos Bane, son, do you? Oh, you're going to Copenhagen. That's cool, Jem.
Kled. From a distance already, you can sort of see that the town appears to be two, sort of split up into two areas. One which seems to be based in one that seems like a more typical town, which is constructed of squat buildings, and another area which appears to be mines, though they seem uncharacteristically lively for mines. As you approach the village, you notice that the road that you're coming in on is ringed by guards. What do you do?
The entire road, or they're like blocking our progress?
They're basically just blocking your progress.
Well, I guess approach them until beckon to stop.
Alright, you don't have to go too long before one of the dwarves puts his hand out. Stop there! You, what is your business in Kled? And he points a spear at your group.
We're here on business. We're meeting someone named Sanal.
Sanal, but you why do you need to meet with Sanal?
We have business with the man.
Sanal is a woman.
We have business with the woman.
Smooth, Tim. Smooth. Anyways, Great. Just like you did with my name. So the dwarves basically, they come... one of them eyes you suspiciously, looks at Jomo and gives him a bit of a stink eye before turning back to the rest of you. What is your intentions for your stay here in Cled?
You know what? I'm gonna eye them suspicious and say I intend to meet with Sanel, the woman. We have matters of business to discuss. I don't know how to be more clear than this. Would you like the detailed business that we have to discuss with that? Because I'm not going to provide that to you. So if you're going to reject us from the town for that, I guess we should just be on our way.
Another one of the dwarves comes towards you. Are you with the house then?
House then? No, I'm not with the house then. Or any other merchant house.
I just completely botched the name House Stell. Sorry. I thought of Sten.
House Sten, we're here. We represent the Barasad.
No, but are you are you here as part of House Stell? Or do you have any associations with them?
I do not. Corwin, do you have any associations with House?
Still, no, that's not in my wheelhouse at all.
What's a wheelhouse?
It's a house
Well,
that
you know,
has
where
wheel
you
in
store wheel.
Yes, it's natural forte. Like my fortes are, going across the various Athasian lands and making great works of art. That's my special forte. It's in my wheelhouse. Artistry is in my wheelhouse.
Maybe these guards in the market for some paintings.
Well, I do have a painting available if you are interested. I mean, it's original works. Some of mine are already being sold in tier.
We have no interest in any of your non-dwarf goods. And he sort of spits to the ground as he says this.
Well, that's rather isolationist, but fair enough.
In any case, you can move on in. Just mind yourselves and get that Crodlu stabled.
Well, of course, we wouldn't just be leaving it crud loose in the city. That would be quite ridiculous. Well then, onward.
Staring at my non-existent camera. Rod loose. Where can we stable it?
At the caravanserai.
Okay, thank you.
Well, in the spirit of telling each other to do things we were going to anyway, you chaps continue guarding this road here. And we will be on our way.
Let us stable the Crodlu and then go find Sanal.
It's Sanel.
Sanal.
You guys better be just so grateful I'm not sanal about the pronunciation.
I like that one.
Anyways, so they group parts and you're ushered into sort of a ringed sort of area of tents and small squat buildings, which is assumedly the caravanserai. Several caravans are there being loaded up with goods, while others are being unloaded.
All right. We'll see if we can't find the stable area. Flag down somebody who looks like they could rent us.
All right. There. Sorry, just checking a thing. Yeah. So you basically ask around and see if anyone is willing to help. But for the most part, they seem mostly uninterested you until finally a rather skinny dwarf comes up to you. Uh, Hi there. Can I help you?
Yeah, how much to stable our Crodlu and wagon?
That would be five slate pieces per day, standard rate.
Okay, we'll take one standard stabling.
All right. Are you here as traders or?
You know, I'm going to start preparing an entire life story for whenever people around here ask me questions. We're here to talk to one of the residents. Maybe you know them and could point us in the right direction. Sanal?
I don't know any. Do you mean Sanal?
I think it's Sanal.
Sanal, sorry. I actually did try and pronounce it the right way. I just was reading my pronunciation note wrong.
Well, certainly she works here at the caravanserai. She's in one of the offices, though. I can see about getting you in to see her.
That'd be great. Thank you. What did you say your name was?
Ajni.
All right, Ajni. Appreciate it.
And he sort of scurries off. As this is happening, you notice that a caravan is now just leaving, and it's what strikes you is that the caravan seems very, very well guarded for its size. It's just a small caravan, but it has groups of guards flanking both sides of the wagon. Yes, Josiah, well guarded for its size.
That's kind of like being heavy for its size, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just fucking with me. My biggest pet peeve of all time.
That's literally your biggest pet peeve?
Yeah, I can't think of one that's worse.
That's wow. I would have thought you'd have some bigger ones than that.
Well, I guess the pet peeve that people don't recognize what a ridiculous phrase it is, and they all just use it if it makes perfect sense, and are unable to acknowledge how stupid it is when you examine.
Anyways, but yeah, this caravan is heading out. The guards are actually all sort of watching you as they leave the caravanserai and begin pulling out.
Is caravanserai like a Japanese word for a place that you store caravan? I've never heard.
It's actually it's an Arabic term, or well, it's a Latin, or rather, a romanization of a Arabic term, and it essentially means just an area where caravans are stabled and dealt with. Think of it as sort of like It's sort of like a trucking depot in a way. So it's sort of like where Nox works.
Nice.
Ajni is... You know what? Ajni is Nox. He works for the work demons there.
So there are plenty of work demons in this place.
Well, I mean, you get the sense
It's
that...
terrible.
Yeah. Anyways, an older dwarf sort of saddles up to the to your group. Right, what you doing here?
Well, it all started 27 years ago when a young woman living just outside Nebben. No, we're actually being quite well taken care of by your man Ajni here. We're here to see Sanal.
You're here to see Sanal then. And he sort of squints at you. She's always talking to odd types like yourself.
Odd types.
You know, non-dwarves. Those, who don't quite belong.
When you say belong, do you mean belong here or just like generally?
Both.
Are all dwarves this racist? I mean, apart from Ajni here, I think we've encountered it from each one of you that we've had the pleasure of talking to since we got here.
Really, human is going to criticize a dwarf for being racist. You know, I think that we've shown quite a bit of kindness to your like, especially given what your house Stell is doing.
But you assume we're with House Stell, but we're not.
Wait, what is House Stell doing?
House Stell has been taxing our shipments of obsidian, leaving any shipment that's not bound for Uruk gets taxed.
What are they providing you in exchange for this tax?
They say it's part of their protection of the roads, but they've been protecting the roads for years and never asking for anything. Quit.
And those shipments going to Uruk are immune from this tax?
Yeah. As he continues grumbling, a dwarven woman, bald like basically every single dwarf there, comes out and says, calm down, Shernut. I'll see to them. You three, you wish to speak with me?
That depends. What's your name?
Sanal.
Yes, Anil. Yes, we do wish to speak to you. Is there some place privately we could talk?
My office. Follow me. And she sort of waves you over. Shernut, this old dwarf just sort of is grumbling to himself and watching you three.
Thank you for the information about House Stell, old dwarf. We'll be looking into.
He is an old dwarf. If you had to guess, you'd probably say he's in his 60s, which for Athos, that's a pretty good age to reach.
Wow. I think in normal, like D&D lore, I think they live to be like 300 or so, something to that effect. Yeah.
Yeah. On Athos, basically, aside from Thrycreen and tieflings, most races, and even then, most, in the case of tieflings, most never live long enough for it to matter anyways. But most races don't actually live longer than others. Like, elves don't have ridiculously long lifespans, nor do dwarves. Thrycreen do technically have a shorter life. Thrycreen definitely have a shorter lifespan because theirs is 20 to 30 years. Whereas tieflings have a lifespan that's usually, like, they can get quite as old. Like, if we're talking maximum age for most Athasian races, it's around 100. But for tieflings, it's closer to 75. But then again, the
Wow.
average age at which they reach is not anywhere near there.
I'd imagine the median age for Athos is in the single digits.
You know, you're not that far from being wrong, honestly. It's not good. It's not great. They don't rank very well on the development index. Anyways, Sanel ushers you into her office, which appears to be this squat building, which is relatively stuffy, all things considered. Though with the door open, it's not so bad. It seems to be designed that when the door is open, at least, it can aerate pretty well. Inside the office is a small desk and table. Everything is designed for dwarves rather than for larger races. And there's 2 seats. I should say everything except 2 seats are designed for dwarves, whereas the 2 seats are of a larger size.
Jomo will remain standing.
Yeah, I'll wait till she settles herself and then ask, are you expecting?
That depends. Who exactly sent you to contact me?
I'll point at the door and say, do you mind?
She nods slowly.
I destroy her door. No, I'm kidding. I'll just close it.
Do you mind? And then you just do some random. That was such a Jimmy move.
Then Senta. He's asked us to look into the area and the source of the disturbance to the caravans.
Oh, fucking finally. Oh. Let me tell you, it's been absolute chaos It's been absolute chaos of late. I was hoping that Ven would have sent out someone sooner, though I would have thought he would have sent dwarves or the like. I should have hoped he'd know how things are in Cled.
I think he preferred to send his best.
But
Very
they
well.
was busy, so you got us.
Very well. So, simply put, I work a bit of a side business here with Ven's assistance. I sent him some extras from our obsidian shipments, and we import some additional goods here.
What kind of additional goods?
Nothing terribly onerous, just stormwater and Sibaha. You recognize these as being two. I mean, you've met people with on stormwater before, and
Oh,
Sibaha
yes.
is another drug which is illegal in most parts of, at least in the city states.
shocking to me that Athos would have its own war on drugs.
Well, the Sorcerer Kings, they really don't like the people getting lazy on stormwater and the like.
Jomo has an expression of disapproval and distaste.
Anyways, lately, these caravans have been hit. Not until recently, it wasn't my caravans. It was just the last couple that were hit that were caravans of mine. We've also been having some issues previously with people in town, dwarves and non-dwarves, who have been going missing.
Really missing.
Yes.
Just completely vanishing one day, no trace, never to be heard from again.
More or less.
There haven't been any reports of hearing like mysterious bells on the wind or anything like that, have there?
She, without moving her head, she just arches her eyes such as she's looking at you now. No, nothing like that.
Missing
Yeah,
people
well, that's
is our
good at
specialty.
least.
Alright. In that case, I will mostly leave you to do your business, though how much do you know about Cled? I imagine you probably would need a primer in the place.
I think that could be helpful, yes. I mean, we do see that there's quite a dwarven population here, and they don't seem much kind to non-dwarves, but still, yeah.
Yes. Well, Cled is divided into two parts. Here, where you're staying, is called Sandside. Most of the dwarves who are parts of the caravan, as well as more of the upper classes of Cled, live here. The other area, which is part of the mines, is called Rockside. The more down on their luck dwarves of Cled live there, although many of them would claim they're being purer. I know for a fact that Nalrol, our master of the town, he made quite a stink about having his place of living be as close as possible to Rockside. Yes, the rock side of the tracks. Let me see. We don't have terribly many in the way of non-dwarves here. We did have one who was rather famous from a while back. You probably heard of her, Neva.
I'm just going to kind of look at Corwin.
Corwin kind of wonders if he's heard that name, but it doesn't ring a bell, really.
I know who she is, but I don't think Jomo does necessarily.
Neva is, chance. Okay, definitely, Corwin would have heard of Neva. Neva was one of the deposers who threw down Kalak. She was a human who was reportedly very close to Rikus, but from as last as you heard, she died here in Cled.
Corwin's brows will go up, and as he's kind of considering this, really, she was here. Well, yes, I did kind of hear that, but from what I heard, she had died here.
That's right. Died along with Calum, the old fire priest who ran the Temple of Fire here. There was, surprise, surprise, great blaze that completely incinerated the temple, killing both Neva and Caleb.
Jomo has heard of Caleb. Jomo also a fire priest.
Well, maybe you want to take a look at it there. Argani is now our priest, I suppose, and she tends to what's left of the Shrine of Fire.
How long ago did that happen? How long ago did that happen?
It happened on the 3rd of Smolder, if memory serves.
Alright, how long ago is that from now?
Okay, when's it count? Smolder is like... Yeah, it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Yeah, it's about 7 months ago, not counting the festivals.
I doubt it was an accident.
Well, you might be right. Again, not a lot of people were happy about a non-dwarf moving in, especially moving in with our priest.
Is Agani a dwarf?
Yes, Argani is a dwarf.
Interesting. Okay.
In any case, if you're looking for places to stay, there's really two major places to speak of. There's the Black Whore, which is located here in Sandside, and if you're looking for a bit more, let's say, harsher accommodations, the Razorstone Tavern is in Rockside. Yes, the Black Ore.
Yep, I heard it the other way too. I was like, that's what you call your good accommodation?
Yeah, really, that's the nice place?
Yeah.
What kind of town is this? The Black Ore makes a lot of sense, though, since they do obsidian mining here.
Yeah.
Anything else that you know about these attacks? Did you say they began a few months?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could say that even the first big attack was the Shrine of Flame burning down. It was shortly after that we had our first disappearances, and then a couple of months later, then we began having caravans start getting picked off.
We did notice some destroyed caravans coming in.
Those would be them, or at least some of them.
And how does this correlate, if it does, with when House Stell began taxing the ore ship?
House Stell started taxing it, I would say just before the Shrine of Flame burned down. That's when they first started that up.
So right before they start charging for protection, everything suddenly becomes a lot less safe.
That seems to be the case. We can't really do anything about it, though. I mean, we hardly have the forces to deal with a group like House Stell, and Corwin, you know offhand that that's absolutely true. House Stell has the largest standing private army of any of the houses. It's by far the most militaristic of the houses, which is not surprising given its home base is Uruk.
Yeah, they're quite set up to be hostile.
You know, all you really need to do is rise up against them as one unit. Jomo know exactly what is needed to solve this situation. A training montage.
Nice.
Let's get down to business to defeat Houstel.
Yeah, with a musical number.
Yeah.
Show about 3 minutes of people training and stuff with music. That's it. They're fucked. They can't possibly win.
Yeah. Anyway, so what do you actually say?
Okay, is there anything else you can think of?
Well, was the old fire priest Callum, was he, did he speak up against House Stell at all, or was he known for opposing the tax, or any sort of political aims in that direction?
Oh, he certainly grumbled about it. I mean, a lot of the younger dwarves here have been grumbling about the taxes. The older dwarves, sure not excluded, have, for the most part, been so used to oh my god. Sorry, one sec. Oh, sorry. Most of the other dwarves have been used to Fort Iron for so long that they just view the taxes as an added part of doing business.
I suppose that makes sense. So he wasn't particularly in opposition to it, or sort of a, in the revolutionary against it, or anything to that effect.
Well, I know that Neva, strangely enough, was trying to get some of the dwarves to organize against House Stell, but most of them weren't too happy about working with an outsider. Honestly, I still don't understand what Caleb saw in her.
I suppose that is an unlikely pairing when you think of it.
You're Balakan, aren't you?
Yes, that I am.
In that case, you should know that the dwarves here are nothing like the dwarves at Lidopolis. Yeah. We've been mostly keeping to ourselves for, well, thousands of years now, as long as anyone can remember. You'll find that the dwarves of Kled are about as close to traditional as anyone else.
Corwin's brows will kind of knit and just nod as he kind of considers this. All right, yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, I've already kind of gotten a certain taste of the atmosphere here in the little bit we've been.
Anyways, so in terms of people to talk to, I suppose you could try inaugural. You might try and bang your head against Shernut if you wanted to. See if he says anything, but most likely he's just going to rail on about House Stell. Other than that, just trying the taverns is probably as good a thing as any to try.
Fair enough. Is there a particular, shall we say, political difference between Rockside and Sandside, or is it sort of unified in that sense?
Let me put it this way. If you thought the dwarves over here in Sandside had been unfriendly, you've seen nothing yet. The dwarves of Rockside are much,
Even
much
more
less
so.
tolerant.
Gotcha.
In any case, don't expect to find too much of a warm welcome anywhere you go here. I mean, I suppose you can. The Black Oar is all right. Darude's a pretty open-minded person. I even got a human to work as a waitress there.
Sure, we'll figure out a way to screw that up.
Well, I hope she didn't like her job that much. We have priors. No, Gemma doesn't say that.
Anyways, have you dealt with the stabling and everything?
We did. Is 5 slate pieces really the standard rate?
It's the standard rate for most places, yeah. But look, you're doing me a favor, so I tell you what, I'll write it off as being a personal expense. All right. Say that you're doing a service on the part of the caravans here.
Well, thank you kindly.
If you're looking to stay, the caravanserai also has a boarding house which you can stay at. But I have to note that again, even though it's better accommodations than you likely find elsewhere in terms of their friendliness towards non-dwarves, you're still not going to be welcome with open arms.
Understood, but hopefully your generosity is not the only part of it that we encounter in class.
Well, again, I don't really care who you are or why you are, as long as you're helping save my business. I'll welcome you with open arms.
So what is it exactly you are hoping we can do for you?
I'm hoping that you can solve who's been hitting the caravans and put a stop to them permanently.
Right, okay.
And of course, the matter of the disappearances, but, well, if it's anything like Sada, I'd imagine it's all kind of interconnected.
That's my guess, but again, I can't be certain. Really, if you can just make the caravans stop disappearing, that's good enough for me. If it turns out that the disappearances are something else, I honestly couldn't give a toss about that. No friends of mine who disappeared.
Fair enough.
How many caravans? Is it all the caravans that go out that are disappearing now, or is it just a few?
Not all the caravans, of course. Town would die rather quickly if that was the case. No, it's been, I would say every 5th caravan that's been sent out for the last while.
And did the heavy escorts tend to dissuade?
That's the hope. But again, most of those escorts have to break off once they get far enough away from the town and head back. Most can't make the long treks that are needed to get to their final destination. Instead, we end up relying mostly on Fort Iron to do its job of protecting the caravan trade.
But they haven't been doing it.
Not as well as they could be, no. I will say this, though. The caravans that have been hit, not a lot of the ones that have been hit have been headed for Uruk. So, is there anything else I can help you with?
That's all the questions I have.
All right. Well, in that case, you can go about your business, and if you have any further questions, just you can get a hold of me here.
All right. Sinclair will nod and open the door and head.
All right. So it's right now about 3:30 in the afternoon. Uh, what do you? Where do you want to start?
Well, do you guys want to go to Rockside and talk about this and see if we can't find anybody you may?
Well, if they're that rough and rockside, it might be worthwhile to kind of get the Sandside opinion first. But
Yeah, you're right. I meant the Black Ore.
yeah, that's my inkling.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
sounds good.
All right.
We head there.
So you begin walking through the town. Again, it's mostly composed of these squat buildings that were clearly designed for dwarves rather than for other races. You do see the odd non-dwarf, but for the most part, it's just dwarves giving you either giving you sort of quick lookovers or looking at you disapprovingly. The black ore is rather easy to find, thankfully. It being one of the only buildings that was designed clearly for more than just dwarves. And yeah, the raucous sounds of people talking inside. Yes, more than dwarves.
All
So
right.
did somebody actually come and take our wagon and do something with it?
It's stabled right now.
Okay. It's ice time, ice time, ice time.
We'll head inside,
time,
see if we can't find a table.
time.
Someplace not too loud.
All right. So you head inside the tavern, and immediately you're greeted with the sounds of dwarves singing traditional dwarven tavern songs. A young woman, human, walks up to you and says, "Welcome to the Black Ore. How can I assist you?"
Place to sit and maybe something to.
Sure. Just grab any open place. She sort of looks around and then points at a table in the corner that's open. Uh, what would you like to drink?
Just water for me, please.
And let me get the menu out for the Black Ore Tavern. There we go.
How's the homebrew ale here?
It's not bad. It's a little bit on the strong side, honestly, but aside from that, it's not too bad at all.
Interesting. I'll take a mug of that if you would.
All right.
You're actually less likely to find bits of obsidian in your food here.
I
Wow.
was looking at that.
Water for me. And I want some meat.
What sort of meat? We have kip, aprig, and erdlu.
Aprig.
All right.
Yeah, I'll have some kip.
And some bread, please.
All right.
I'll have the erdlu steak, if you would.
All right. So that's the erdlu steak, the aprig kip roast, and a loaf of bread, and water for you two gentlemen. Did you want that in a pitcher or did you want that in a mug?
Pitcha.
All right. In that case, let me just add that up. So that's going to be 3. Where's my price thing for? There they are. So 3, 5, 6, 11. So that's going to. Oh, God damn it. Yeah. So that's going to come to a total. That'll come to a total of. Oh, are you going to be sharing the pitcher or do you want separate pitchers? She asks. Jomo and 2 pitchers. All right. In that case, that's going to come to 11 slate pieces and 9 ceramic pieces.
I will hand over an enamel piece and just say they'll figure out.
All right, that'll cover it. Yeah.
Wait, is an enamel piece 100 slate pieces? Or is it 10?
10. A gold piece is 100 enamel pieces. Although it is a enamel piece is 100 ceramic pieces.
Okay.
Yeah. So you sit yourselves down, and after a short while, the waitress comes back and with your food and drink. Will that be all?
What do you hear around here about these disappearances, if you have a moment to...
The disappearances, well, it's really been the caravans that they've been talking about mostly. The disappearances haven't happened so much lately.
Oh, okay. How about the caravan, then?
We hear a lot of theories. I mean, most people think it's desert raiders, but some people think that it's let's just say that House Uruk might have House Stell might have something to do with it. If you'd like, I can actually the owner here, he's always open to meeting new people, and he actually has thoughts on the matter. If you'd like, I could ask him if he'd come by.
Yeah, that would be excellent.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Just give me a bit. And she heads off. So, what do you 3 do?
Did we actually get our food yet?
Yep.
I look around. What other kind of people do I see in this place? Anybody that looks suspicious or that's watching us or anything?
It's mostly dwarves, but there are also other races there. Mostly humans, but you also see a tiefling, a couple of elves, and a half giant. There is one dwarf who seems to be sort of looking at your group every so often, but then he just sort of quickly looks away.
So, what are your guys' thoughts initially? What are your beliefs about the matter?
Corwin will kind of consider it as he begins having some of his ale and takes a bite of the Erdlu steak. Well, I mean, it was a bit interesting that the ones that the caravans that tend to be attacked are the ones that are not going to Uruk, based on what she had said last.
Maybe Uruk is behind it.
It's possible, or I mean, then again, it could also be someone that's trying to, lower the amount of tax that Uruk gets, and cause some sort of a rift there, for them to come and mount some sort of a punitive action. But
Where does House Stell come from?
well, they do come from Uruk. That's one of their home cities, but and they're quite the militant house. They're one of the ones that they make no qualms about just coming in and just simply laying down some combat. They have no qualms.
Well, the timing's suspicious. Trying to think of a plan other than just attempting to go out and bait an attack.
It might be worthwhile checking out the Temple of Fire there. That it seems like that's kind of where it all started from, with the former deposer there, and then all of a sudden, the whole chapel gets burnt up, and then all of these odd incidents begin happening.
Jomo definitely want to look into that. It seemed like someone is killing off all the people that were involved in killing Kalak. They're all dying. It's probably not a coincidence.
Corwin's brows furrow as he thinks about that. And yeah, that's definitely the case. Seems more and more now, especially with Rikus being gone now and that type of.
So I'm going to keep my eye on that shifty dwarf while we're talking, see if he does anything.
Okay. He's thus far just been keeping the odd glance over you, but he's not been doing anything aside from that. He looks like he might be writing something down, but you're not quite sure.
Is he a younger dwarf or an older dwarf?
Older. In any case, a dwarf settles up to your table. I was told that you wanted to speak with me. Name's Darude. It's a pleasure to meet you. And he extends a hand out.
To
The group in general. He looks like he's just fishing for someone to shake his hand.
Sure, I'll shake his hand.
All right.
Yeah, Corin will as well.
He's had enough handshakes.
Okay. Darude will remember this. So, you three. I was told you were looking in that you want to ask about the disappearing caravans.
Yeah, just curious to hear what you've been hearing.
Well, it depends. Do you want my opinion, or do you want what I've been hearing?
Well, how about both?
All right. Well, what I've been hearing is that it's everything from non-dwarven plot to seas Kled to elven raiders to it just being some sort of creature out in the sands. A lot of the theories, especially amongst the younger groups, tend to focus on House Stell. Me, I personally don't think that House Stell has anything to do with these with the caravans getting hit. I mean, it hardly would make sense for them to begin taxing the caravans and then also raiding them, right?
Well, that does make a sort of sense. I mean, it is rather counterproductive of.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had any issues with House Stell myself. I know they've got a bit of a reputation, but I for the most part found that when their representatives come by, they're at least professional in their dealings. Same thing goes for Urukites as well. I know that they've also gotten a bit of a bad rap, but there was that pretty Urukite lass who was in here a while back. She was quite the looker and quite friendly, if you know what I mean.
Oh, so that definitely means Uruk not bad. Is that what you're saying?
Corwin's kind of thinking to himself, and he's remembering back to Sada and a certain a Fenris manhandler or woman handler, shall we say, who stole from a chest and kind of roughed him up in the process.
Yeah.
Who I'm pretty sure was an Uruk spy.
Did you hear the name Rye associated with this one?
Oh, hey, that actually was her name, I believe. Yeah.
And you said she's here from time to time, or?
Just the one. She came into town. It was just before House Stell began levying the taxes, I think. She was a nice girl. Again, really easy on the eyes. Just between you and me, I'm a bit of a sucker for the taller lasses.
Yeah, did she, well, I mean, besides the local folk here, did she seem to have any other sort of interests in being in the town?
No, not really. She just came into town. Apparently she was just a traveler. She asked a few questions about the obsidian mines, but most people who come to Kled are interested in the obsidian mines. I mean, it is our major industry here.
Yeah, that's true. Obsidian isn't quite quotidian in other cities.
That is very true.
What?
I'll allow it.
In any case, she left after about 2 weeks. So, I'm guessing you also must have run into her?
Yeah.
How is she doing? I hope she's still doing well.
Not sure. It's been a while. It's been about 10, 12 days since we saw her last.
That's not so long.
I thought it was longer before I looked it up. Last time we saw her, she was fine. I believe headed back to Uruk.
That's good to hear. If you meet her again, tell her that Darut says hello. Will ya?
Certainly.
I have a laundry list of things to say to her. I'll add that to the list.
All right. But yeah. No, I personally think that whoever's doing this must be some sort of raider group or the like. That's my best guess. I mean, it would make sense as well, them targeting the non-Uruk-bound caravans, right? That Urukites are less... Urukites would be less concerned with those, and therefore they'd be easier to hit, it's my guess. That being said, I suppose the only hole in that theory is that most of the caravans that get hit tend to get hit before Fort Iron. They reach Fort Iron.
So between here and Fort Iron tends to be the striking point.
That's right.
Have you ever heard of any survivors of these caravan attacks?
Nope. Sadly, every caravan that's been hit so far has been killed to a dwarf.
Well, that is quite unfortunate.
Yeah. And in case you're wondering, no, we never seem to find any of the attackers either. Just a bunch of dead dwarves left behind.
Interesting. I suppose it could be raiders, but you'd think you'd find some of them that just weren't able to make it.
Yeah, I'm not certain. Raiders is my best guess, though.
Well, fair enough. It's good to keep in mind. That is a possibility indeed.
In any case, I'll let you get back to your meal. If you need anything else, be sure to just ask for me or Malia.
Excellent. Will do. Thank you very much for talking with us.
No problem. I always enjoy speaking with out-towners.
Who are you again?
Darut.
Oh, right. Yes, okay, I remember.
And so he wanders away from the table.
And the overly interested dwarf is still doing his normal thing.
Yeah. So,
Do we have our food and everything already?
yeah, you've had your food.
Alright, I'm eating and drinking. All of it. Well, I mean, I'll share the bread with them, but...
Breaking bread. Yes, I've heard that's quite a ceremonious thing to do.
I don't know how else you're gonna eat it with more than one person.
Well, that's a good point. It would be kind of quite odd to just sort of just eat at it from both ends and then meet in the middle. That would kind of be scandalous. Although I guess that's what Rye and the others were doing.
I don't know. Did they bring us like a plate and like some olive oil that we can pour on there to like dip the bread in?
No, nothing like that. Just bread.
God damn it.
Thought this was the nice side of town.
Corwin kind of wonders to himself and kind of assumes that even dwarves have the same disrespect for the arcane.
Yeah, dwarves also have the same disrespect for the arcane. Basically, everyone on Athos has the same disrespect for the arcane.
Lovely.
Pretty much.
I'm going back through my notes trying to remember a couple of things. And I've seen that every time I mention a stabling fee of 5 slate pieces per day, for some reason I note that it seems to be pretty hefty, despite the fact that it's uniformly been 5 slate pieces a day.
Yeah, I remember the messenger's mount was 5 slate as well.
I'm gonna be shocked and scandalized by the weapon repair cost, no matter how many times it comes up. I was gonna say something, but I forgot.
All right. So as you continue eating, the dwarf that was looking very interested at you goes to get up and sort of closes the scroll that he was writing on, and begins wandering out of the tavern.
All right, I'm gonna telepathy at him with just like leaving so soon. You don't know what else we could get up to when you're gone.
All right. He stops and he go. What? What was that? And he's looking around very concerned.
I'll just kind of raise a hand and gesture him over, see if he does anything when he looks at our.
When he sees you gesturing over, he sort of looks around and points to himself and sort of looks at you questioningly.
And then I will telepathy at him. Yes, you.
He sort of wanders over a bit haltingly. Yes, can I help you? You see it's again, a older to middle-aged dwarf. He, unlike most of the dwarves that you've seen thus far, who have either been dressed like they're caravaneers or have been dressed in workers' garb, he seems to be dressed in nicer robe.
Very suspicious.
If there's an open chair, I will sort of gesture towards it.
Yep, there's a open chair at your table.
And I would assume this particular area, it would be quite uncommon for people to be reading and writing, really, besides merchants and, business owners, that kind of thing, like for ledgers and this.
Yeah. Again, reading and writing is not terribly common on Athos. Now, Cled is is basically an independent town, so it technically doesn't have the same rules against reading and writing that a lot of the city-states do. But it's still not a super well-known thing anywhere you go, and especially since, in the case of the dwarves, at least with their own script, Davik, no one knows how to read it anymore. So they just use common.
What's on the scroll?
Oh. It's nothing, really.
Well, you just seem to be interested in us. Thought we would introduce ourselves. My name's Sinclair. These are my friends, Corwin and Jomo.
It's nice to meet you all.
Charmed, likewise.
My name is Orsic. I'm an antiquarian here at Cled. I also have a small business dealing in antiquities.
You just made that word up.
Which word?
Archediluvian, or whatever you just said.
Antiquarian?
I look at Sinclair and Corwin. Have you ever heard that word before?
It means of or relating to horses.
There's no horses on Athos.
Just like there's no such word as antiquarian.
Checkmate.
Checkmate.
Nice. Well, probably the closest thing would be, remember when we went to Balthazar's Bazaar, the bazaar with the oddities, the strange antiques and such. It's perhaps this fellow is a fellow artist like myself who might be doing a sketch of us. Probably pretty rare that, to see out-of-towners and, to get the facial features right and that type of thing.
So you're a junk vendor?
Not junk, antiques. I collect and sell antiques, as well as catalog them.
Antique just means old junk, right?
It's hardly junk. He begins to get a little bit huffy. Antiques help define us as a people. I mean, it's the loss of Athos's history is one of the greatest tragedies which has occurred. So little is known of the times before.
Who cares about the times before? What matters is the actions we take now. That's what defines us.
Well, I'm afraid I would have to disagree with you there, my friend.
It's true. I mean, considering the way the whole world's on the decline, that it's possible that knowing the history of it could help to potentially fix it in the future.
He looks at you and he nods vigorously. Yes, exactly.
Sounds like something I would say if I was trying to sell old junk.
Well, again, much of my collection is just that, a collection. It's actually not for sale. I do sell some of the things I collect as it's necessary to make a living, but aside from that,
perhaps he might be more inclined to see your view, perhaps to see what you've been working upon.
Oh, you mean this? Well, I suppose if you want to take a look, that's fine. And he sort of and he sort of hands over his the scroll that he was writing on.
Who does he hand it to?
He hands it to Corwin.
Yeah, Corwin will go ahead and take it, and he'll sort of, unroll it slowly and such, and, he'll look at it for a moment and try and gauge it, and then attempt to explain to Jomo, the what it says.
It basically is what looks like a scholarly piece discussing the findings of artifacts and substrata of rock and how it can be used to date the time of the artifacts, the age of the artifacts, rather.
Yeah, it seems to be that, the gist of this is, it's actually a sort of a treatise on how to, determine the age of his relics and such, to kind of date them and put them in a sort of an order, so that way what parts came first and, which eras and that type of.
That's exactly right. Are you also a scholar?
I dabble a bit from time to time, but I've read some various works here and there.
Yes, well, it's something which I've devoted a great deal of my life's work to. I'm very much interested in discerning the past, in particular the past of the dwarves.
Why was you looking at us so much while you was writing it?
My apologies. I was just curious. You see, we don't get many non-dwarves in here, and you three in particular just seemed a bit more. Okay. Insight checks from everyone. Should I finish what he's saying, or do you want to meet?
Yeah, finish what he's saying.
And he, in particular, you three look different from the usual caravaneers that we get through here. Jomo, you don't really seem to think that anything seems off about him. He seems quite genuine. Sinclair, you get the sense that he's hiding something, but you're not quite sure what.
We get that a lot. We're an interesting group, most places that we go, but that's not the whole truth, is it? Or
What do you mean?
I think you know what I mean.
No, truthfully, I was mostly just interested in you. Well, I suppose I was wondering if you perhaps are here about the disappearances of the caravans. Well, not disappearances so much as raids.
What you know about that?
Only what I've heard around, that it might be raiders or that it might be House Stell acting against us.
Well, that's quite perceptive of you. We are indeed looking into the the nature of these raids and disappearances.
You'll forgive my inquiring nature. It's, well, as I said, it's simply in my nature. I just noticed that you seemed quite different from the others here, and so I assumed that it likely had something to do with the other aberration which is occurring.
The other what?
Aberration, the other set of unusual events.
I wish I could just make up my own language when I talk all the time.
He sort of looks at Corwin and Sinclair as if, help me out here.
He's new to words.
Yeah, he was thinking that basically since the raids and disappearances are fairly new, and that our appearance is fairly new and is unusual in this town for our particular stature, that the two might somehow be connected.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
In any case, I was just about to return to my shop, though if you have any interest in discussing any matters about antiquities, I'm quite willing to assist, he sort of says with a bit of hope in his voice as he takes back his scroll and rolls it up.
You got any good maps of this area?
Maps, mostly of the Cled region, yes. But I'm not sure they would be much use to you. They're mostly dig maps and the like.
That's still fairly interesting.
Do they show, like, any caves or anything where raiders could be hiding out?
I don't believe I have any maps like that, no.
Okay. Still would be interested in looking at your maps, though.
Well, again, if you wish to find me, you can simply stop by my shop.
What is the name of your shop, by the way?
It doesn't really have a proper name. It's simply the sign outside simply says antiquarian.
All right, fair enough.
Well, look, no sign simply says antiquarian. That is not a simple word.
Right. I'll make a sign for what we do. Just put omnipedamelius on it. Just put any word. Just make up any words we want.
All right. Well,
But
again,
thank you, Orsic. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be by your shop.
Yeah, Corin will roll the scroll up and hand it back to him.
thank you. Was nice meeting you all. And he
Yes, likewise.
and he wanders off.
That was rather interesting.
Despite his use of obvious neologisms.
What? Now you doing it.
It's odd, but he reminded me a little bit of the shopkeep from the Wanderer's Chronicle back in Tyr.
The book merchant?
Yeah, exactly.
This guy was more spoony.
Okay, if you're going to make up words, don't just look at the utensils on the table. Well, what next? I kind of feel like we'll get this same story from just about everyone, that either Houstel or Raiders, and everyone has their own opinion.
Hey, what's up, Briar Cub? How you doing?
That's a good point. I mean, it might be worthwhile to go and take a look at those maps, sort of get a general perspective on the land, especially if he has any maps maybe that go so far down as the fort down there.
There was also the matter of the Shrine of Fire, I believe.
Yeah. I need to
Searshoe
check that out.
pops out by you.
Yeah, that's very true, too. Like I mentioned, that is the place where it all seemed to start.
Well, let's go check that while there's some light left.
Wait, what are we checking?
The temple.
Oh, yes, good. That's where we should go, yes. The
And then
flame
could
wills it.
we do 5 minutes real quick, Scito? I gotta
Sure.
step away and make a... Okay, be right back.
Yep. All right. I
Sure.
will also be back.
We will endure this brief cunctation of the gaming session. Relaxing in the heat of the Athasian evening.
That was great,
Yeah.
them making words up.
Yeah. Jomo's not good at solving mysteries.
Yeah, with the 6, I could kind of see that. Having dealt with a 4,
With 6 intelligence, he ponders in slow-mo. Got that lone wolf music playing.
Yeah. Suddenly, a wooden platform. Dun dun dun!
Not a wooden platform, no! I trundle away from it.
Exactly.
It's Lone Wolf's greatest fear.
Mm-hmm.
A wooden platform. So, I got an interesting email from some game developer that's like, hey, we know you're into Lone Wolf and you have Lone Wolf stuff on your YouTube channel and everything. We're developing a new alternate or altered reality, augmented reality, mobile game about Lone Wolf, and we wanted to know if you wanted to talk to us about it, or I don't know what the email said exactly. I don't remember, but it was
Really?
and it was like, here, check out this press release and this little video. So I checked it out, and it looked absolutely fucking absurd. Like, it just looked like the worst thing. And I was like, I don't. There's never anything suspicious about a wooden platform.
Exactly.
Except for everything.
And especially if it was made by the Achdorf.
Oh, that's the platform of doom right there.
Exactly. Lone Wolf and the Platform of Doom.
That's the platform that would eminentize the Eschaton.
Nice.
I want to investigate something. Oh, my investigation is -2. -2.
I remember it was so odd and that Sardik had a, strange religion but had 0 in it due to that intelligence.
Yeah.
Of course, it's still worked out that he had the Revenant knowledge, amazingly rolling high with that.
This is a flaw of D&D that I'm sick of. The too much of your total success or failure chance is based on the die roll. 1 to 20 is just way too big of a range of randomness with small bonuses that, like, where you can be really bad at something, but you can actually do really good at it, like, multiple times in a row if you just keep rolling good. Or the opposite. You could do really bad at the thing you're really good at just because of the dice. I hate that. I feel like it was mitigated somewhat in 4th edition because the skill bonuses were just higher. So it made a bigger difference between people who were good at something and not good at something. But even so...
Okay.
The tyranny of the D20.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Hey.
That's right, Josiah. Make Cled great again.
I already hate Cled.
Do you feel like you've been led astray?
Yes.
Ain't that a kick in the Cled?
Nice.
I'm feeling pretty incredulous about the whole thing.
Nice.
I would just leave right now, but we already have an ironclad agreement with Van to,
Nice.
Pretty sure I made that joke last time.
And that scroll had a lot of clutters on it.
It did. Did they have any flying ships here? You know, perhaps a Cled Zeppelin? I'm pretty sure I made that joke last time too, didn't I?
Oh, and people, and see, this is why Pun Squad for the other group is really misnomer, because this is the Pun Squad right here.
That's so true. I feel like we really need to workshop that name.
Yeah.
Yeah, workshop into something completely different.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And, you know, I remember thinking to myself, maybe a couple weeks ago or so, I should probably start thinking of a name for the group. And I'm like, a name for the group? That's never going to come up. Of course it comes up just as inexorably as, you know, coming up a 12 on pickpocket roll.
You do roll extremely high or extremely low with a disturbing degree of...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, your pickpocket luck has been pretty bad.
Pickpocketed clean.
You're like me playing Caravan.
Yeah.
Caravan says there's no moodle ground for Nox.
Yay.
It's true, there isn't. But you know what? Despite everything, you know what Cled doesn't have?
Cletter cheese.
It doesn't have this.
True. Yeah, we'll stay here.
I have returned.
Welcome back.
I was going to
Welcome
mention
back.
that.
Sneaky Tim.
Yay.
All right. So, you all have finished your meals, and what do you want to do now?
Well, I think you have it right that, while there's still light and such to examine the Chapel of Fire, from judging from what they had said about it, having been burnt down, that who knows what sort of state it is even after this time.
That's true.
All right. So, is that where you all want to head?
Yeah.
All right. So you leave the tavern and begin looking around. It doesn't take long to find the Shrine of Fire, as it's this burnt husk of a structure. Basically, the only things remaining of it are the outermost walls, and even then, only the very corners of them. In the middle of there, just outside, you see a dwarf with severe scarring all over her face, uh, asking passerbys for a coin.
As we approach, I'm going to call forth the flame hovering over my hand.
Okay. An interesting thing happens as you do that, though. As you... Oh. Alright, as you do call forth the flame, the fire doesn't seem to form initially. In fact, it sort of takes you a second to actually get it going, and even then, it feels weird.
Something is wrong here.
What do you mean?
The flame does not come as it should.
And Corbin will kind of look at it and go, it does look a bit different than what I've seen it last.
Alms to repair the shrine? The young female dwarf is calling out, holding out a clay bowl.
Clad bowl?
Is it a priceless platinum bowl?
No, it's just a clay bowl.
Yeah, I'll walk up to her. What is your connection with this place?
I'm Argani. I am the priest who ministers what remains of the Shrine of Fire here. And she sort of sweeps her hand back over the ruins of the shrine. Looking now, you notice that the shrine has a small structure made of stacked stones in the center of it, as well as two small markers that have been planted by it.
I'm gonna say I too serve and worship the flame. I'm gonna reach into my bag. I'm gonna pull out 20 enamel pieces and put them in her bowl.
Oh shit. Well, Captain Prague.
Captain Prague.
I was just thinking that.
Okay. Searshoe sort of looks at you like, what? You're seriously gonna give her that much?
Oh, I'm sorry, Seer. Does this cut into your expenses?
It cuts into your expenses, which cuts into my survival.
We'll be fine.
Argani is sort of she's looking up at you and down at the bowl and going, I don't know who you're talking to, but thank you. This is incredibly generous.
It is nothing. The flame has brought me much. I just gives a little back.
Well, if there's anything I can ever do to help, I just ask.
Argani, what do you know about the events surrounding the destruction of the shrine?
She sort of casts her eyes down. Those events will, if you'll forgive the pun, be scarred in my memory forever.
Did you mean seared?
Wait, what
No.
pun?
Well, she has scars over her face.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
So I take it you were here when the events happened?
Well, in a way, at the time, I was only the apprentice cleric to Calum, who ran the Shrine of Fire. Calum at the time was, he was a great man, a great cleric, and she sort of bites her bottom lip. He had that lover though, that Neva, those markers there. She puts her hand back and points to the two markers located near the stack of stones. I consecrated for them, although there wasn't really any bodies to bury.
They were
I had
completely gone?
just ash left behind. The fire, I never believed anything could happen like that. I had just been called away on business away from the temple, and when I went to return, the temple was ablaze. The fire was so intense. I attempted to use my powers to try and control it, but nothing I did seemed to do anything. And that's how I got these scars. She draws her hand over her face.
You are touched by the flame. It is a blessing. The fire destroys so that new can come, and you will rebuild this place.
This fire didn't feel like a blessing. Nothing felt natural about it whatsoever.
Speaking of the fire, Jomo here just mentioned to me that the fire seemed to act oddly when he was calling it into his hand there. Have you noticed sort of similar oddities with your own similar brand of elemental magic?
I've been having some difficulties, yes, but I'm not certain if it could just be the trauma from what I suffered then when I was trying to put out the blaze. So, as I said before, my powers didn't seem to work in terms of calming them. My connection to the elemental fire seemed to fail me.
Yes, I feel something strange about that here. I'm gonna try to, kind of go into the middle of the ruination and, pray and try to meditate on the feeling of the place and see if I can attune to anything or get any kind of mystical sense of anything.
Okay. In that case, let me see here. I guess make an Arcana check?
Animal handling?
No?
Oh.
Arcana?
Okay. Nature? No, Arcana. I'm not even good at nature anyway, so it wouldn't matter.
All right. You attempt to attune to the elemental flames, and you quickly find that, much in the same way as Argani was scarred, this place seems to... the elemental energies here seem to have been scarred. They've been warped almost by something. As you try attuning closer to it, you begin to feel a strange sensation, like a force there. And as you continue to try to delve into it deeper, you can almost feel the will of something in your mind, as if something incredibly powerful was at play here.
Something did this. Something unnatural. I'm gonna ask Sirshu if she can detect or sense anything here.
All right. Sirshu will try and do that. Let's see. So yeah, Sirshu he sort of puts her hands out and just begins... a dull glow sort of emits from them. And then, almost as if air is streaming through her fingers and sort of disrupting them, she goes, "There was something very powerful at work here. Something not natural at all."
Arcane magic, maybe?
I don't know. I don't sense defilement. The elemental energies don't seem to have been drained from here, but they seem to have been in some way manipulated. I've never felt anything like this.
Yes, it's very disturbing. I don't think the flame meant for this to happen.
I imagine we would, as normal, be able to notice Sirshu appearing. Did she seem to have any difficulty manifesting herself?
No, not especially, but again, you notice that you see her interacting with the place, but she didn't seem to have any issue manifesting, no.
I'll poke around the area while all this is going on. Just do a quick investigation check, see if anything stands out.
Okay. Yeah, nothing is really standing out to you. You do note that the blaze must have been extremely intense. The brick around the area literally seems to have melted in the heat. You do note that it is rather strange, though, that the way that the fire has burned itself out in the four corners of the building, it almost seems symmetrical. So essentially, each of the remains of the building's walls, which are again basically the four corners of the building, all seem to be about the same amount in terms of how much remains.
Okay.
So, does the burning seem to be the most intense at the center? Like, is there a centralized area that looks more blackened or whatever than everything else?
Again, it's been some months, so the scorching has been sort of dulled a bit. But yeah, it does seem like that it broke out. In fact, the area where she stacked the stones appears to be sort of like the central area where the blaze seemed to have started, or at least based on scorch marks.
And I assume that there's nothing flammable in here at all.
Not anymore. The stacked stones have a couple of candles on them, and the candle light seems to be burning a bit oddly, in that the fire itself seems to be very thin and not interacting with the wind in the normal way.
Is the priest still watching us? Priestess? Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna go back to her and ask her, can you tell us about Caleb?
Well, Caleb was... honestly, he was the most important person in the world to me. He was a skilled practitioner of the flame. He was asked to... He did travel for a time, though, and it was during that time that he met with that woman, Neva, and they returned here. Caleb was he was the ideal priest of flame. He was absolutely dedicated to it.
What did he spend his time doing before he died?
He was mostly do the same as he was at any other time, administering to the flame, providing healing services, and the only difference was that he had Neva there.
Did he have any enemies? Did he take any kind of stand that would make anybody mad?
She shakes her head. Nothing like that. I mean, I know what you're asking. If the blaze was... someone had said it, but and she just sort of pauses for a second there. It's hard to remember. I'm sorry. It's some parts of the blaze are hard to recall.
What do you mean?
I don't remember. I remember the fire, and I remember trying to stop, and I remember my power's not working, but I don't remember if there was anyone else there.
Do you remember anybody strange coming by the temple before that?
Not that I can recall, no. Well, she begins looking around. I don't know. I'm sorry, it's just my mind, it feels clouded when I go back to those events.
Maybe the same thing that corrupted this place also affected your mind.
Sirshu sort of looks over at you, Sinclair. Maybe you can do something, you know?
There are are people that can do what you're talking about, but I am not sure that I'm one of them. I can try. Argani, I'm going to, with your permission, I'm going to do something to you. It's going to feel like an attack on your mind. Try your best not to resist it, but don't feel bad if you can't. I'm just trying to help you remember what happened.
Oh, all right. She looks up at you.
So the best I can figure Scito to use right now is this.
Okay. All right, that's fine. You make this query, and you attempt to pull the answer from her mind, and at first you're getting nothing, and all of a sudden it's like a dam breaking. There's a flow of just chaotic psionic energy that is being unleashed from her memories, as if some sort of entity was there that was so powerful that it literally left this imprint in her that you can now feel the brunt of its force even now. You see the blaze burning intensely, the fire, they're absolutely out of control, but you also see something else. For just a second, you think you see a figure, dressed all in black, watching the blaze.
Do you remember anything about that figure?
About what figure? I'm sorry, I feel I need to sit down. She's looking extremely unsteady.
Okay, I'll try and help her down.
All right, she sits on the ground, sets down her bowl.
The night of the fire, I saw through your eyes what was happening as it was blazing. In the background, there was a figure all in black. Seemed to be observing it as well.
I don't remember any figure. It was strange. It was like I felt all the emotions that I did when the fire was for a second there.
That's okay. It confirmed what we were thinking. He experienced a significant amount of some kind of energy that altered your memory, suppressed certain parts of it.
Oh, that's... What could do something like that?
Let me think.
You're not certain. This sort of thing, I mean, again, it could be an incredibly powerful psionic force, but you're not certain. As the power here, it doesn't seem like anything you've ever seen psionics do.
Nothing that I can think of. I've never seen anything like that.
I see. I'm I'm sorry. I'm very tired now. Is is there any other questions?
No, that's enough for now. Is there some place we can help you get to?
I mostly been staying here. Just keeping watch over the shrine.
You got food and drink?
She nods.
Well, that amount of money will make you a target to most people, so I'd suggest finding a hiding place for it before you drift.
Oh, all right. I think I can do that.
If you think of anything else that you think could help shed some light on what happened here, well, we'll come back by and check on you again.
Oh, all right.
Nice.
Or anything I can do for you. Fucking Sinclair just takes the money that I gave her. Super sneaky.
I think I'll be fine, but thank you for your concern. And she begins, I'll go find some place to put the coins as you suggested. Thank you again very much for your kindness.
May the flame be with you.
And with you. And she wanders off. Well, says Searshoot, that was strange.
Yes, very.
Yeah, something rather significant attacked this place.
Do you think it's part of this whole disappearing caravan business?
Timing suspicious.
It could be the source of it all. That seems to be when everything seemed to happen. I wouldn't mind sort of going over this place in more detail, but without any sort of spying eyes on me.
All right, well, it's right now about 5 o'clock. So, what do you guys want to do now?
I don't know.
Well, there was that antiquarium with the maps, if you wanted to take a look at that.
And didn't Snall also give us a couple of names to follow up on? I don't.
Yeah, what did she say? She said there was a Gnarl, there's the town master, who's apparently sort of right on the cusp between sand side and rock side.
And then there's hard place side. And you don't want to be between there and rock side.
Exactly.
I don't know, Jomo doesn't have any plans. He waits to be told what to do by the smart people.
Well, let's go visit the made up and take a look at maps and maybe any interesting things there, and then secure some accommodations.
Where are we gonna stay? At the Black Oar or at the boarding house in the caravan place?
As a note, though, the Black Oar was just a tavern. It didn't have rooms for people to stay in.
Maybe we're just gonna go drop fucking sleeping bags right in the middle of their common room. And if they act up with us, we'll pull a hungry halfling.
Nice. Of course, there's always the option of just bedding up at the Temple of Fire here.
Can only imagine the nightmares that would await us.
Mm-hmm. Especially given Sinclair's history.
This place has been lost. Not good to linger here.
All right, let's go visit Orsik's shop.
All right. It takes a little bit more searching this time. The shop doesn't have any big flashy sign or anything, but eventually you do find a building right on the outskirts of town, which has the word antiquarian written above its door.
There it is, Vesuviarga tracks. Or whatever.
Nailed it. All right, I head inside.
All right. As you head inside, you're agreed with the sight of many, sorry, old pieces of many old pieces of pottery and carvings, as well as several old scrolls that have been placed on the walls. Oh, hello. Orsic wanders over. It's good to see you. As a note, this place was also built clearly just for dwarves more so the ceiling is pretty low.
What does it smell like in here?
It smells like earth.
Very suspicious.
Well, good to see you again so soon, too.
Yes, likewise. We happened to be in the neighborhood and saw the sign.
I see. Is there anything I can help you with?
Nothing in particular, but I see you have a a collection of interesting objects here, as we were speaking about in the tavern. Perhaps a tour of the shop?
Certainly. Well, most of these relics date back to settlements that were based in this area hundreds of years ago. This one in particular was from the dwarven settlement of Artis. He points to a goblet made of obsidian.
Yeah, Corin will take a look at it and sort of appreciate its craftsmanship and that like.
Many of my older findings, though, don't really have any. I don't have much information on them, unfortunately. I'm still attempting to piece together the pieces, as it were.
Yes, well, that does make sense. Yeah, as I saw, you were working on a way of sort of cataloging the dates of them and their particular eras. And
Exactly.
so, what would you say would be sort of your greatest discovery that you found through this historical finding?
Oh, sorry. I'm not certain. I mean, so many of these pieces are of such great value. I mean, I'm not sure I could pick out one in particular.
Well, perhaps, what would you say would be your favorite?
Again, I'm not certain I could do that.
Well, fair enough.
This guy's real dodgy. I know how to get him to talk.
Have you found any sort of historical texts or the like?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, I have found some scrolls again dating back a few hundred years, but nothing much older than that, I'm afraid.
Fair enough. You mentioned some maps before, by the way.
Yes. Did you wish to see those?
Yes, we would.
All right. Let me go get them. And he heads into a back room. And when he comes back out, he has about 5 rolled up maps under his arm.
Gomo likes maps.
Well, here, let me show you. He goes to a table that's relatively clear and rolls out one of the maps. And it's a map of the general Cled area. It shows the settlement as well as a general outline of the region. And it's been marked in several places where apparently he's found things.
I'll peruse the map with my cartographer's eye.
All right.
Thanks for the host, Brad. How you doing?
Is there any
TV.
particular sort of a general direction where you've tended to do your most findings or be able to find most things?
Oh, I've been finding artifacts from all over. Some of the artifacts I don't find I have shipped in.
Ah, interesting. So it's a sort of a consortium. It's a collaborative effort.
Yes, I interact with several scholars, mostly dwarven, but with also some human and even an elven scholar.
Interesting. That's interesting. Do you have any sort of contacts in tier or such?
In tier? No, not. I'm afraid I don't have any there.
Fair enough. I imagine it must be difficult, though, being able to continue up communications, since there's those blockades going on.
Yes, the blockade has interfered with communicating with any resources in Lidopolis, but I've managed to make do. The besides the blockade doesn't extend all the way around Altaruk. There is paths that are thus far unobstructed. It's really just the trade road that's been mostly obstructed. The Great Road is still a viable path.
Really?
Yes, the blockade, of course, is to keep out refugees and the like, and as such, it's really, they've only been concerned with them coming from the Tyr region, or rather, I should say, from the area around Tyr, not to confuse it with this region that we all live in.
I do remember on the tier map there were two blockades.
Well, actually, there's only one.
Okay, I would have sworn that there was one to the south as well that was blocking I believe it's the Great Road. It was the one sort of headed off to the side there, really toward the bottom, but okay.
Yeah, no, the only blockade that you've heard about is the one that's located on the trade road.
I don't understand what the point of the blockade is.
To keep out refugees from flooding from flooding Altaruk and Balik.
Oh, right.
It's rather unfortunate what's being done. It's a sad fate for many of the refugees being forced to instead funnel themselves to Tyr, where my understanding is life is hardly easy.
Yes, that's true. We've seen a bit of that.
They should all come to Kled. They'd really find a warm welcome here.
Yes, well, I suppose our reputation does precede us somewhat. Not too many people have attempted to seek shelter in Kled.
But if there were dwarfs, would they be taken in?
They might be. I'm afraid Nalro would be the one in charge of that decision, not myself or the others.
You did mention a sort of a collaboration between, scholars of different cities before. Have you had any problems with caravans being attacked and having your information intercepted, your artifacts, that type of thing?
Most of my belongings come in via couriers and travelers like that, rather than being shipped along with major caravans. As such, my goods, for the most part, haven't been hurt.
Very suspicious.
Well, so they're not interested in attacking individual people, then just groups. That's a bit odd. You'd think they would have started with the individuals and then worked their way up, but
Well, again, it's all out of my area of expertise, I'm afraid.
Do you know of
so
any...
it's
Sorry, go ahead.
so it's nothing you're familiar with. Then you're saying.
Yes.
Corbin kind of wonders if maybe he had any sort of reaction to the word familiar at all. Corbin's kind of suspicious if he has any sort of arcane bent at all to him.
Make an insight check. You didn't really seem to react to the term familiar, no.
Okay, so Corbin really doesn't think that this person has any sort of a mystical influence, that he's not, able to use, let's say, magic to communicate with his other scholars, as opposed to couriers and messages and the like.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really get...
Okay.
You could just ask him, "Hey man, are you a mage?"
Yeah, that's wonderful. That I'm sure that'll go well. Now that he has Mage Hand, he could try to do the Roscoe and Azar Mage Hand high five. Oh, you didn't respond with the high five. Okay, I see you're not one of us. I'll be on.
And then Cled burns to the ground.
Are you aware of any elven raiding tribes operating in this area?
Not really. Again, it's not really my area of expertise. I do think that some people have mentioned them as a potential matter of concern in terms of the caravans, but I myself don't really know anything much in that regard.
Corbin will kind of turn his attention more to the maps and kind of look to see if there's any sort of a pattern to anything that might indicate maybe a good hiding spot for people, or a force or something to that effect that might do something or have this power or whatnot.
Could you repeat that?
Corwin wants to look at the map and just see, like, okay, is there any place here that would kind of necessitate, like, oh yeah, here's a good hiding spot for, be it raiders that would want to go and attack a particular caravan, or something to that effect. If he spots any sort of a pattern to anything on the maps.
All right, make an investigation check. Looking at the map, there are some areas which you think could definitely be choke points for raiders and the like, but without knowing where the attacks have occurred exactly, unfortunately, the information is somewhat useless. You could, in theory, say areas where attacks might occur, but whether they've attacked there or not, you don't know.
Okay, but anything in terms of where we had seen, like, attacks in reference to where we had seen the fallen caravans on our way here?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, some of them do look like they're located in areas which have that there was rock cover, or that there was or are located in dunes such that they could be struck at that way, but again, it's very hard to piece a complete picture from just what is basically an archaeological map.
Gotcha.
So, what are you guys doing now?
Just looking at the maps.
All right.
Corbin will kind of go around the shop and just sort of admire the, the various pieces and anything of that. Possibly, if anything, maybe would strike him out of the ordinary, but I highly doubt that.
Yeah, nothing is striking you as especially notable. There's some carvings that have some strange script in them, but other than that, nothing particularly noteworthy.
Okay, well, I don't have anything else here.
Yeah, likewise.
All right, so thank you, Orsic. It's good to see you again.
I don't trust
Like
this guy.
you say about everyone.
I feel like he might start coughing up the good information if I start throwing some of these around. Oh, you got some scrolls here, I see.
Nice.
It would be a shame if anything happened to them.
There's a guy going around.
He's called the Scroll Burner. Now, I have been keeping this guy away from your place for a while, and I can keep doing so. I'd love to keep doing so. But unfortunately, if I have to worry about getting my own information about this investigation, I won't be able to do both at once, you understand? And then the Scroll Burner might get past me.
Nice.
Oh, you guys. Anyways, it was no, it was very good to see you all again. Again, my shop is open anytime you wish to drop in. With the understanding, of course, that I need to sleep at times and occasionally eat.
Well, yes, that's common to pretty much all of us. I think we can afford you at least those simple amenities.
All right. So, are you guys leaving the shop?
Yeah.
All right. You leave, and he sort of waves you goodbye, and closes the door behind you.
Now we are gone. We are in the street now.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of neighborhood is this generally that the shop is in? Is this more rockside-ish or sandside-ish or that kind of thing?
It's more sand side. It's the buildings here seem to be nicer.
Okay.
Okay, well, I don't have anything else really that I'm looking to accomplish today.
I mean, there is the town master we could speak with, but it is getting pretty late.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to try and go over there at this time.
All right.
So maybe let's check out the boarding house and then head back to the Black Oar for a night.
The Black Oar, though, that was just the tavern, right? We'd actually be sleeping at the stabling area.
Yep.
Jomo not want to go back to Black Oar. You go without him if you want. I'm gonna check on the wagon and on to kick, and then probably just find a place to lay down.
Fair enough. I mean, Sannel did offer us a place to stay at that at the boarding area there, so I feel like we should just simply make use of it.
I agree. So I'm gonna go check on the Crodlu and the wagon and make sure they seem okay and undisturbed.
Okay. So you are heading to the caravanserai. Where are you heading, Sinclair and Corwin?
Well, I'll go back with him first and then find a room.
Yeah, likewise. We'll all be heading there in general. So yeah, we'll follow Cora. We'll follow Gemma there.
Okay. As you're heading down there, you notice that all of a sudden a group of dwarves is blocking your path.
Oh, here we go.
A group of dwarves? Really? They're rolling up to us?
Thus far, they're just sort of they're just sort of sitting. They do seem to position themselves right in your way.
They're sitting in the middle of the road?
Well, you were going through an alleyway to get back to the main street that goes to the caravanserai, so...
And I imagine they're sort of looking at us with purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. This place, judging by the picture there, is it sort of a multiple story kind of thing?
Well, that where you're seeing there, that's Rockside more. Sandside is those buildings off in the distance.
So there's not, like, let's say, a practical way to give them the three-dimensional slip.
No.
I mean, what that even means.
The buildings are kind of
you just sort of get up to a higher plane and just sort of da-da-da-da-da-da across.
I mean, you could... I mean, at this point, yeah, they've seen you.
Okay. Yeah, I was figuring just so that since there was like houses upon houses upon houses in that one section, that it's like, okay, well, we'll just climb up and, go on the third level and just sort of just bypass all of that. But yeah, since it's just simply really one level, yeah.
All right. So one of the dwarves comes up. So... You've been asking a lot of questions here, outsiders.
You have some answers for us. Great.
Yeah. We don't really like those questions.
What sort of questions don't you like?
The kind that you outsiders have no business sticking your noses in. It's a good way to get them cut off.
You mean you don't appreciate questions just about the nature of this fair town? I mean, you have quite an interesting trade in obsidian. I mean, it's fairly rare.
They sort of look at each other, and then they begin to brandish weapons.
Look, you don't want to do that.
See, I'm thinking we rather do.
We're the Desert Rats. We're arena champions.
We are quite well known in Tyr for our exploits.
Yeah, well, that means nothing here in Cled.
We can cut down the group of you as easily as shaving our faces.
One of them chuckles. I'd like to see that.
I mean, you do realize that as you've been sort of spying upon us, that we're the advanced force for a caravan coming in. We're simply the scouts. If they don't hear word back from us, well, they won't be pleased.
What are you even talking about? We're just here to make sure you don't ask any more questions. Simple as.
It looks
Boys?
like you're here to commit suicide.
Well, it seems that instead of simply requesting that, you seem to want to use those. What do you look like you're using some bone there? Yes, some bone weapons to attempt to do it. And again, if we happen not to be capable of, returning back to our contacts, well, they'll be very displeased, and they'll send an even bigger force here, and there'll be even more questions. And, well, I mean, look at the size of you, and the size of the boys back in Tyr. You'll be overrun.
Are you making fun of our size?
I'm making fun of the size of your group, not of your stature. But
I think this fucker's making fun of dwarves.
I'm just gonna arm myself and say, right now you're twice as tall as you're gonna be in a few minutes.
Alright, that's it. Take out these fuckers. And it's about time to roll initiative.
Initiative! Oh no! Some local roughnecks have decided to meet their doom at our hands. Well, we didn't start the fire. Well, in my case, I might have started it. If we don't have tokens to click on, we can't make our initiative automatically pop up on the turn tracker, but you can just manually add them.
Alright, can you see the turn tracker?
Yep.
Okay,
yes.
one sec, I can, Oh, shit. We got... Well, even though... Alright. So we have initiatives all over the place, so let me just...
I think we can also drag us from the character section, over to the main section, and kind of have that, as a, sort of a health token thing or something. I think we did that before.
It's alright. I have something that I...
Okay.
He has something. He never specified how many of them there were. This is where he fucking pulls a movie. He's like, alright, the 30 dwarves. Get ready to fight.
No, there's only 6 dwarves.
Okay.
Is it, let's say, in a populated place? Do we feel like others are watching?
No. You don't feel like others are watching, or if they are, they're making themselves scarce.
Excellent.
Yeah, he said
All
we were in a back alley or something.
Now let me roll the initiative for the 6. Oh, the fun. Oh. Simple 1d20 for them.
Couldn't be simpler.
Wow,
I
these
forgot
guys are really like
what
crap.
all my abilities do.
Okay. So, the dwarves are right now arranged in this alleyway. You've got about, I'd say about 20 feet, or rather 15 feet of space on either side. So, make your move.
How tightly grouped are these guys?
They're pretty tightly grouped. I mean, there's two of them that are hanging back a bit, but the other four are sort of tightly grouped in. I would say that they're all within 5 feet of each other.
So the ones that are further back, how far away are they from me?
They are, I'd say about 55 feet away from you.
55 feet?
Yeah.
So all of the dwarves are pretty far away from me.
No, the ones that are closer, they're, like the closest one's about 30 feet away from you.
Alright, so I want to move up. Where's the guy that was talking to us?
He's in part of the group that's right in front of you.
So I want to move right up in front of him. At this point, all the dwarves should be within 30 feet of me, right?
Yep.
Okay, I move right up to him. I'm going to use Channel Divinity Radiant Flame as I hold my burning spear aloft, and a wave of white burning heat flares off of it. And all of these guys need to make a con save.
All right.
A DC of 14, I think? 14.
Number 1, fails. Number 2, succeeds. Number 3, succeeds. Number 4, fails. Number 5, succeeds. Number 6, succeeds critically. So 2 of them failed.
Okay, so the ones that failed take 21 radiant damage. The ones that succeeded take 10.
Ooh.
Okay. So this burst of flame lashes out, and it absolutely scorches 2 of their members. The others, though, are sort of able to throw up their arms and block much of the flame, but even they get scalded pretty badly on their arms from the fire.
So are the 2 that took 21 down, or are they still on their feet?
They're still on their feet.
Okay. So then I'm going to use Action Surge to take an additional action. And the guy that's in front of me that was the one doing the talking, I'm going to thrust my spear directly at his chest.
All right.
And let's see if it works.
Yep, that hits.
Awesome. Then I'm going to be using Chaos Weapon with this as well.
All right.
As I strike, so it'll do the regular damage plus 2d8 extra radiant. Oh, I don't know why I rolled that again. Never mind, ignore that. So it's 11 plus another 12. So 23 more damage for that guy.
All right. And that takes him down. So the flame. So you thrust your spear into this guy, and as you do, the elemental chaos burns through your body and through the obsidian G, and it erupts in this guy as he suddenly is immolated by the flame, and then sort of sloughs off of your G.
Nice. And I just look at the rest that are still there and say, anyone else got something to say? And I'm done.
All right. Corwin, your turn. Will Corwin bust out the magic? Let's find out.
Corin's really tempted to bust out the magic, especially since no one seems to really be looking in his direction. Of course, considering the carnage that Jomo has just laid down, he'll kind of turn and look at Sinclair, and he'll kind of look and go, well, I think I could end this now, but if you want to have a hand at him, I could be persuaded to maybe save a couple for you.
By all means, take care of it now.
Well then, and he'll look at the remaining dwarves there, and he begins to speak something that causes some nasty crackling energy to begin, but he realizes what might happen afterwards, and he changes it, and in the middle of it, he changes to somni gravis, somni omnorum, somni gravis, full sleep this quorum.
Oh. It's
And
nap time!
mandatory nap time is going to be occurring.
Okay. So, this causes... So, two of the dwarves, in fact, the ones that were burnt most horribly by Jomo, they immediately fall prone to the ground, asleep. The others, however, managed to fight off this sleep.
Nice. Pulling
Yeah,
a
that was
Belgoy.
Yeah, that was a level 2 sleep, so yeah, that was 31. Okay.
They got their bells wrong.
All right. So number 4, he is asleep. And let me just remove number 2 from the turn tracker. Doop.
I don't know if you guys can see the turn tracker, by the way. I can't.
I can't.
I can't.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Don't worry. We don't need to see it, but I'm just saying.
Okay. Number 3 goes next. And so number 3 is going to move in on Jomo and is going to attempt to attack. And he will make 2 melee attacks.
Corwin will kind of look to Sinclair and laugh as he's doing this and go, oh, look, he's not even bothering to rouse his companion.
All right. First one fails miserably because Jomo has the AC of a tank. And the second one fails miserably as, again, Jomo has the AC of a tank.
It's not too late to run away.
He's lying. It's too late to run away.
Nice.
So the other one is going to run up, and he's going to he's also going to attack, but he's going to attack with advantage this time.
Okay.
So 23 hits. And
I'm going to warding flame that as my
Oh,
reaction.
all right.
Which will impose disadvantage.
All right, in that case, cancel each other out, and the first one is it. So, and is that for the rest of your turn, or just that attack?
It's just on that attack.
Okay, he's going to attack again. With all right, first hits. So that is going to do.
How many dwarves are still awake, by the way?
3.
So there's 3 dead, 2 asleep, and...
There's 1 dead, 2 asleep, 3 up.
Okay.
And he'll do 6 points of damage.
Okay. Jomo will say, I didn't know you wanted to have a tickle fight.
The dwarves look at each other nervously now. They were not quite expecting this. Sinclair, it's your turn.
Well, I will gain some hit points and attune to the iron hide, so I get armor class of 20.
Wow, that's good.
Are all of these dwarves that are up within movement range?
Let me see. All but one of them is within movement range.
All right. Right now I'm focusing on these guys have got the melee ones. I don't want that guy that's far away to disappear. So I'm going to go ahead and Step of the Wind to take dash as a bonus action, which would allow me to travel up to 80 feet.
Okay. Just doing that, basically hacking that is the Sonic Monk.
Yep. And I'm going to speed over to that guy.
Okay.
And just look down at him and say, unfortunately, you and your friends have made a fatal mistake. And before his eyes, my body's going to kind of start to swell and scale as it takes on aspects of a lizard, giving me 2 additional AC.
Okay.
You're just making
that's
shit
it.
up right now. That's awesome. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could do all that.
Oh, yeah. I got skills.
Oh, and I just realized that this should be battle music right now. Alright, so you doing anything else?
No, that's all the actions I can do this turn.
Alright, well, number 5, so the 5th dwarf sees this, and he's freaking the fuck out. Well, that's not natural. And he's going to attempt to run to, and he's going to attempt to, basically run from you, so provoking an opportunity attack. Alright, and does that hit? That hits! Okay. Your blow strikes him savagely in the chest, and you can feel the cracking of his ribs. But although he coughs up a bit of blood, he does not go down. And he runs up to one of his sleeping compatriots and goes, "Hey, wake up! Wake up! These guys are... they're monsters!"
Okay, so just so I'm following this in my head, so my intention was to go to the one that was furthest away.
Yeah,
so
you
maybe
did.
the last one. And so he ran back towards Jomo and Corwin to wake up one of his companions?
Yep.
Okay.
Which he does. So one of them is now awake and prone. Unfortunately, the one he wakes up is not the one who's next on the turn tracker. So this guy's asleep. Jomo, it's your turn again.
Alright, so do I have any guys next to me that are still awake?
You have 2 who are next to you who are still awake.
Great. Oh yeah, the 2 that ran up and attacked me.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, cool. Well, in that case, I'm going to try to stab one of them. Whichever one looks more hurt, if I can tell, or if they're the same, then it doesn't
They
matter.
look about the same. Alright, that hits.
Stab him for 8!
Alright, you strike a blow against him, cutting a deep gash into his side. But he's still standing, though he's now looking severely hurt.
I
Corwin.
just smile at him.
Corwin, it's your turn.
Okay, so he's still standing?
Yep.
All right. Corwin will just kind of stand there, and he's just going to start to begin to sort of pet and caress the air. And he's just going to mutter into himself as he watches this and go, razzle dazzle, snap and snazzle. I send this bolt of might to frazzle.
Okay.
And this unstable, warbling energy ball just shoots and streaks out at him.
All right. Roll them D8. Okay. So, yeah.
So that is force damage, 9 force damage.
Isn't there also supposed to be a D6 involved?
Yeah, that's that number. That's that 1 at the end.
Oh, the 8 is the 2d8. I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and well, you choose one of the D8s, so
Right.
it's going to be
But
thunder.
they're both 4. They're
Huh?
both
No,
4.
They're both 4.
Oh, I
Yep.
see. Okay, and so
So
how
that's that's force, and that's 9 force damage to him.
Okay. The bolt strikes him directly in the side, and again, there's just this crunching noise as part of his side compacts, and he coughs up blood. Ah! Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems that Corwin put a certain amount of extra spin on that, as he seems to be, maybe he would be really good at pickpocketing in a different life. As suddenly the Chaos Bolt just seems to go from him and just merrily leap at the one on the ground.
Oh, at the one on the ground? Okay. The one that's awake or the one that's asleep?
The one that's awake.
Okay. This is a ranged attack, and since he's prone, that does impose disadvantage.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. That hits.
I'll choose to make that force damage. So that'll be 16 force damage.
Okay. So this guy who has just been woken up, he's opened his eyes weakly. He sees his friend. He's going, "What's happening?" And then all of a sudden, this bolt of chaotic energy slams into him, and his head just erupts.
It seems you've just been divorced from life.
Divorced?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's another off the turn tracker. And it's alright, so number 3 is going to attempt to make an attack. You think you bastards can come in here? We will protect what's ours. And he's going to make 2 attacks with advantage
Against
you, Jomo.
Okay.
Is there anyone for him left to have advantage with?
Yep. Plus, these guys get a special thing.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that hits.
I'm gonna warding flame that.
Okay. Well, let me just...
Actually, I don't think that would do me any good, right? Because he's already...
Nope. He rolls... He does... Oh, that's true. It wouldn't do any good because... Yeah.
Because even if he had canceled out the advantage, he's still hit with the 20. So yeah, I'm going to have to take that one.
Alright. So, another 1d6 plus 2. As this club smashes into your side, But again, it only does a little bit of damage, just 4 points, as it's unable to get through your tough armor. And now, the other one will attack.
I think that guy gets a second attack, right?
Oh, he does, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, and the second attack, though, misses entirely. The other guy is going to... The other dwarf that's awake is going to come in with his club. Timing strike. And, yeah, he hits.
Yeah.
So the other... This is now actually starting to add up a bit. 7 points of damage as the club smashes down on your leg.
That one wasn't bad, I'll give it to you.
And, the second attack, though, misses as you're able to bat away his attacks with your spear. Sinclair, it's your turn.
So 2 awake, 1 asleep,
There's 3 awake, 1 asleep.
and I would get advantage over the asleep one, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's not actually a serious question. But let's just go to one of them. I assume I can get into advantage with one of them against Jomo. So
Yep.
the healthier looking one.
All right.
And I'm gonna take a swing at him with the quarterstaff.
All right, that hits.
Okay, I'm gonna use flurry of blows to do 2 more unarmed strike.
Nice.
I should note the guy you're striking is really wounded.
Oh, okay. Even the healthier the ones that's still wounded. Well, let's just see if this hits then. Does 12 do it?
Yeah, so this guy who's been striking at Jomo, he's just standing there, and you bring him down, blow straight to the base of his skull, and blood just sprays out of his nose. There's this sick crunching noise as he just flops over dead.
Nice.
Nice. All right, I'm done. Oh, quick ruling on the field.
All right.
Does that stack with itself?
Temporary hit. At least 1 hit point.
No, temporary hit points don't stack with each other.
Yeah.
I can
It's
see
only the
now that
maximum.
this is going to be a thing Tim is going to ask every time.
No, I honestly didn't know. If temporary hit points don't stack, that's fine.
No, but I mean, you asked him that last time.
Last time I was in a state. We don't
Okay.
talk about last time.
All right. So that's another dead. 2 of them are awake. 1 of them is asleep. So the one that is awake, he sees this and he goes over to his other friend and he kicks him and goes, "Wake up! We're getting killed here!" And he wakes up his other friend, who now, awake, stands up and then attacks Jomo with advantage.
So 3 are awake now?
Yep. First attack misses, however.
Bash that aside with my shield.
And the second also misses, as his attacks just are completely unable to deal with your skill.
I say, some days you choose a fight that you cannot win. This is your day.
Alright, Jomo, your turn.
I'm going to start with Second Wind as a bonus action. Heal myself
Alrighty.
for 6. Thanks, second one. Then I will go ahead and... Now, is there a way I can flank with Sinclair now?
There is, but you're going to have to give... It will result in you getting an opportunity attack against yourself.
Alright, I'll take it.
Alright. So, you move to the other side of this one dwarf who still looks relatively hale. In fact, he looks the best off out of any of the dwarves that are still in the field. The one dwarf is going to attack you. And he hits.
Roll the second one, please. Or does he have advantage, or not?
He would in this case, I believe, because of the special abilities guys have.
Okay. Special ability just says they have advantage all the time.
So, 1d6 plus 2.
Wait, I want to see what the other die would be so I can decide if I want to wording flame that or not. Oh, yeah, I guess not. Okay, so 8 damage?
Yep, 8 damage.
Alright. But I've now moved into a tactically advantageous position.
Yep, you now...
Right. X gonna give it to you. Good thing I got advantage on that.
Yep.
That would have been a 1. Alright, so a 17.
Alright, that hits.
For 10 more coming his way as I stab him in the back.
Alright. Your blow comes down, slicing him right across his back and opening up a deep wound along his spine. He's still standing, though. Corwin, it's your turn.
Okay, and how many are still up?
3.
All right. Corwin will kind of attempt to ascertain which one is the healthiest, and he's just going to go and once again he's going to just summon this ball of chaotic energy and just fling it right at.
All right, sounds good. Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Too bad there's not critical damage with spells.
Wait, what? There isn't?
I think there is.
There is? Oh, okay, never
Spells
mind.
that require an attack roll, yeah.
Okay, never
Like,
mind.
there wouldn't be if it was like a fireball or something that has a saving throw, but...
Okay. So, what sort of damage do you want to do to this guy?
Let's see. Acid damage. That's 21 acid.
Alright. So, this acid strikes the dwarf that Jomo has just cut along the back of, and he just screams as his skin begins liquefying and melting from his bones, and he just fluffs over dead. A hissing pile of goo. Just sludge, basically.
Just sludge! You
Nice.
ensludgified him.
So that was some sludgeoning damage.
That was great.
Right, so he's off the turn tracker. And Sinclair, it's your turn.
So
Two of them
two
are still...
left.
Yep.
Well, I will go to the one that looks like he is the help.
Alright.
And let's see what kind of damage we can do to this.
That hits. Okay.
All right, I'll go ahead and use a PowerPoint here to throw a flurry of blows.
Alright. And those all hit.
Oh, this guy's getting racked.
So yeah, this guy who's just was recently sleeping and stood up, you come in with your quarterstaff, smashing him in the stomach. He just vomits on the ground, and then you bring down your fist, one mighty blow that strikes him on the skull, and there's this sick cracking noise, and he just falls down, face down in his own vomit.
Oof, that's a rough way to go out. Not as bad as the guy that got acidated, though.
No, that guy.
True.
Yeah, that one was pretty bad.
At
All
least
right.
you didn't die while someone was describing an object to him as being heavy for its size.
It's the worst death.
So, this one, he's seen enough. He's now terrified and is going to attempt to flee. And so that's going to provoke an opportunity attack from you, Sinclair.
I shall take it.
That hits. Alright, so you strike him along the back of his leg, leaving... There's a loud crunching noise, and he's sort of hobbling, but he's still able to run at full speed, and he's now starting to get away.
How far away is he now?
He is... about 20 feet away from you, Jomo.
Oh.
And speaking of which, it's
he's
now
that
your turn.
close?
Yep.
Okay, well, cool. Well, I don't like when people start running away a whole bunch. How badly hurt does he look? Pretty bad?
Yeah, basically on death's door.
Alright, I'm gonna throw the produce flame at him then.
Okay.
Actually, maybe I'm not. It doesn't do very good damage. I don't want him to live, and of course everybody else will get a turn too, but... No, I'll just run up and stab him with my G.
Sounds good.
Also, as a bonus action, I'm gonna cast a 2nd level healing word on myself.
Okay.
Flame, purify this body! And as the flame washes over me, I feel the burning sensation, and I am healed for 12.
Quorum would like to note that if the flame seems difficult to manifest in this particular area, or that we're sufficiently away from that
Yeah,
that temple,
he's having no issue with the flame manifesting itself right now.
Okay.
Alright, so you catch up with this guy.
And I try to sweep the legs with the blade of my G.
Alright,
16?
that hits.
For 12!
How do you want to do it?
Alright, so basically I come up behind him and I sweep across with the G, knocking his legs out from under him. He falls to the ground, and I just put my foot right on his back, lift up, twist it in my hand so that the point is facing straight down, and just thrust straight down through the back of his neck, out the front of his throat, and into the ground, pinning him there.
Very nice. And the last dwarf has fallen. Congratulations.
We've murdered some townsfolk. Good job, guys.
You sure have.
They had it coming.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but neither of you got hurt, right?
That's right.
Right.
Great.
So, 6 bodies are now lying across the ground. What do you do?
Well, the first thing I do as quickly as I am able is cast another Cure Wounds on myself real quick.
All right.
Well, I think it's 5 bodies.
True. One of them is basically sludge.
Pile of goo. Like in Fallout, when you shoot somebody
Yeah.
with a certain kind of weapon and they just make a pile of... So I just heal myself for 9 more, which I think takes me back to full.
All right.
Well fought, friends. We really showed them.
We did. Let's get them off the road here.
Where are we going to take them?
Just into this alley. I want to search through them to see if there's any indication of who might have sent them against.
Good idea.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I'll at least attune brute force and start dragging these things into the nearby.
All right.
I'll help him.
All right. There is the one who is basically sludge, though.
Is
Yeah,
it recognizable as a body?
So, sort of.
Didn't you say one of them was basically incinerated from the
Yeah,
inside out, too?
Another one was basically incinerated, so he's kind of ashy. He's charred, though. I mean, you can still move him, though bits of him break off when you're moving him.
Corbin will kind of approach the sludge, and he'll notice the incinerated one. And, he'll kind of look and shrug, and, well, that's what they get for just deciding to just attack without, just have their way. But, well, if you want to get those, I think I can get these. And he's going to summon up his, essentially an invisible mage hand. And he's just going to use the mage hand to go through the sludge and squeeze it and roll it and rub it and make it not appear like a body anymore. And if there's items of note in there, well, excellent. The hand will probably find them.
Yeah, there's not really too many items of note, other than a half-dissolved bone club.
And yet, if this was a computer game, we'd still be looting that half-dissolved bone club to sell for one
That's
ceramic
true.
piece later.
Oh, wait, hell, I would be looting it.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't even have to be a video game. I would be doing it in your position.
We're not looting well, I'm not looting the bone clubs.
Yeah, no, Corbin's basically just, how like kids play with mud and that kind of stuff and just like pound it and pulp it and turn it into goop and all that. That's basically what he's doing.
Welcome
And once
back,
he's done with that,
Briar
he'll do the same thing with the incinerated body and just sort of scatter the ash around and all that kind of stuff. And
There's
you know,
still
maybe-
bone in that one, though.
oh, well then, he'll kind of mage hand it over into the sludge and make this just big amalgamation of sludgy, ashy goop.
Okay, horrifying, but okay.
Now you just need to make a golem out of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, Briar
Man,
Cub, these
when
dwarves decided to try
Corwin
to roll
can
up
do
on
things
us.
like create golems. Oh, that's gonna be some scary times.
Mm-hmm.
Cheese golem.
True, cheese golem.
The most delicious of the golems.
Okay, so after pulling the remaining 4 into the alley, just doing a quick search of their person to see any items of note that we might.
All right. You're not really recovering much in the way of items of note. Do an investigation check, though. Okay. One thing you do note is that these dwarves all have relatively scarred arms. And there's a lot of calluses on their hands.
Do they look like burn scars?
No, they look like scars that one might get from getting cut a lot.
Oh, man, I feel bad for these guys now. I didn't know they were cutters. They probably already had a lot of emotional problems, and we just...
Yeah, they were just trying to work out some stuff.
They needed our help. They didn't need us to murder them.
Oh god, it's reminding me of that Mr. Show sketch with the guy with the kid who tries to commit suicide by jumping in acid. He's just this wormy little thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, one sec.
Why does everyone always insist on fighting us? Like, don't they know they're gonna lose?
This is true, and we even warned them that we were we were gladiatorial victors in the Tyrian game. They still insisted.
It's true, they did. And unfortunately, you just didn't have the level of fame here in Kled.
I guess we could have just tried to knock them out or something. But
You could have.
too late.
I feel that's kind of not the way we really roll, though, considering what happened with the bandits that time when Corwin first used the sleep to that effect, and we just ended up stabbing them, the ones that were sleeping in that.
Yeah. Look, it's dark, son. This ain't no walk in the park, son.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, the link is from. It shows the kid who attempted to jump into the acid. Made me laugh so much as a kid when I saw it.
Wow, that's fucking horrifying.
Probably says something about me that I find it so hilarious.
You're a terrible person, yeah. That is fucked up.
Wow.
Oh, Mr. Show was great. Anyways, so yeah. You so you find all these cuts and the like all over their arms. Now I would say that you'd be able to piece this together. These sorts of things are the sorts of injuries you might expect from people who are working around a substance that's very sharp and jagged, and if perhaps they were mining the substance.
Right, obsidian, obviously.
Yeah.
Although I don't know that Jomo would piece that together right away. Although he does use obsidian for his weapons, so he's pretty familiar with obsidian.
Yeah. He's also familiar with how much it costs to repair an obsidian weapon.
Oh my god! Basically, it's like buying a new car.
And he got close with that natural one there.
Oh my
He
god,
did.
I'm so glad I got that advantage.
Worth
If I broke
the
my G
activity.
again, I would be so pissed.
Especially since I don't know if there's anyone in town who could repair it.
Well, I do have a lot of backup weapons.
Alright, so another thing is you find a small carving. It's of a hammer, and there's writing on it in a script that you don't recognize.
All right, I will hand that around to anyone to see if they do recognize.
This damn Elvish.
Corwin will kind of look at it intently and see if it's one of the languages that he knows.
No language that you know.
Well, if you think this is important, I think I might be able to get a read on it.
We're not just comprehending languages anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously Jomo can't make tales of it. Although maybe I could recognize if it happens to be in Elvish, even if I can't read it.
I can if it was.
Yeah, it's not in Elvish.
It's not in Dwarven. It's not in Common.
Well,
Not in
again, Dwarven is a dead language. No one speaks Dwarven anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I
The
mean,
dwarves
no
don't
one
even speak it.
No, they speak it, but they can't read it.
Oh yeah, you told us that earlier.
Yeah.
Not Draconic.
No, not
Not
Draconic.
Halfling.
And not even Thieves' Cant. I mean, I figured it would be a Thieves' Cant hammer.
Thieves can't. I remember as Ada just constantly like, guys, I can speak. Thieves can't, just in case that's important, because you always want it to actually have some purpose.
Yeah, I think in about like 30 some years of playing D&D, I've seen Thieves Can't used about 3 times in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, you know what's even less used though? Druidic. I don't know if they get it in 5th edition, but in other editions, Druids got a special
Yes.
language called Druidic. No one has ever
Yes.
spoken Druidic in any game, ever.
I think the original Drover had Druidic.
Oh man, those useless languages. All right, so are you going to attempt to comprehend languages on this?
Yeah, especially if they're continuing to, look for other things and that type of thing. Like I imagine, like the hammer would be an obvious thing to find, sort of thing. So he'd have plenty of, take the 10 minutes and invoke, comprehend languages, and be able to read.
All right. Well, unfortunately, despite casting that, you can't read it still.
This is some hacks.
Yeah. You cannot comprehend this language.
Corbin will kind of look at the writing itself and wonder if it's arcane in nature.
I mean, you don't really recognize it as being an arcane language of any sort.
Okay, it's not like the arcane sigils that are mentioned
No.
in the spell, that kind of thing. Okay.
Just so you know, if this is the item that ends up giving those guys the special thing they had, I'm calling.
Is it on each of their hammers or just one hammer?
Only one of them has one of these.
Does it happen to be the guy that was their leader?
Yeah, seems to be. Assuming that the guy that you basically incinerated was their leader.
Yeah, that was the guy that was doing all the talking anyway.
Yeah.
Had to issue him a burn notice.
Yeah.
And now he's not going anywhere. Did you ever watch that show, Burn Notice?
No, never ended up watching it. I know about it, but I've never watched it.
Good show.
Yeah, I
It's on
remember
my
hearing
life a lot.
about it a lot. You might possibly want to ask Sarishu if she might possibly be able to recognize this. It's defying my ability to read it, which, was just downright rude once you come to think.
All right. Do you want to do that, Jomo?
I'm sorry, do I want to do what?
Ask if Sirshu can divine what the language is or read it or...
Oh yeah, I mean, she's just been with us, following us around this whole time, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Oh, so she's still out and about and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, during battle, she typically doesn't hang around, but outside of it, she pops in and out.
So, yeah, do you know what this is?
She looks at it, and she goes, "No, I don't really recognize the language. That being said, didn't that, this language does have something of an ancient feel to it.
Did you happen to see the carvings there? There was writing on the carvings in that antiquities place. Do you think those possibly the same? And Corwin's kind of wondering that to himself.
Very possibly, I think.
Very possibly.
Corwin wonders if the hammer itself seems to be ancient, like of that particular time that, was mentioned about in the shop.
It does appear to be quite old, yeah.
Well, I think we could definitely, potentially find some information about it at the antiquities shop, but, well, I don't think that the proprietor would be quite pleased to find the manner of our acquiring this hammer.
All right, so what do you want to do? Do you want to try and go? Do you want to try and go back to the antiquities shop, or?
No, just in case anybody's watching us right now, I say we go on to the boarding.
Okay.
I don't want to get Osric in trouble. We can circle back tomorrow.
All right.
I am going to use one of the dwarves and, maybe one that's bloodied up and just write on the wall of the alleyway, "Nice try."
Oh.
Nice.
Stylish. You know what? Give yourself a point of inspiration for that.
And then I'm gonna write on the wall in blood. Now I have a bone club. Ho ho ho. I don't really, but that'd be cool. Because Die Hard.
Mm-hmm. Well, Die Hard is always cool.
Is a bone club particularly unwieldy to carry around?
It's not great to carry around. I mean, it's a big bone club.
Like, is it like sort of like a great club thing, or something could just be stowed fairly easily, like a nightstick-sized kind of thing?
It's more the length of a nightstick, but it is pretty thick. And also jokes about genitals and everything. Yeah.
All right. I mean, regardless, Corwin will go ahead and store that in his sack. Nice.
All right. So are you going to take all their bone clubs?
Just the one with the inscription.
No, it's not a bone club that has an inscription. It's a small carved hammer.
Ah, okay. Yeah, no, then that's what it'll take.
Okay. All right. And so you guys are heading back to the caravanserai. So
Is that hammer a weapon sort of hammer, or is it
no,
like
it's
a
like
hammer and chisel kind of?
It's actually quite tiny. It's about the size of a thumb.
Ooh. Okay.
You know what? I have a question for you, Scito. What are these buildings? What's the street? What is under our feet right now where these bodies are?
Mostly sand.
And what are the buildings that we're next to made of? Is it something flammable?
It's adobe.
So not really?
Not really, no.
So if I were to light these bodies on fire, they probably wouldn't set anything else on fire, right?
Yeah, probably not, but that being said, do you really want to set it ablaze in town and that might smell and be recognized?
Well, it could be better than the bodies being recognized, and then...
Okay.
I don't know.
But again, it's unlikely that fire would burn away all the bone and everything.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea. I'd be able to attract attention here, probably.
If we do want to get rid of all the bodies, I could just blast them all if we get them all in a heap.
Blast them with what?
Well, just like how I turned that one to sludge.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then he's just casting Chaos Bolt after Chaos Bolt. Well, okay, it'll be acid this time, guys.
Pretty much.
Hits him with thunder. We're like, fuck.
Yeah, that other one was like force or thunder, and I'm like, choosing thunder is not a good idea here. Let's go with force.
Well, I mean, how hot is burning hands? If we stacked them up and I put a burning hands on them, would that pretty much incinerate them, or?
It would burn away a lot of them, but you'd have to sort of stay. You'd probably have to cast it a few times to actually burn away all the bones and everything.
Alright, let's just leave the bodies.
Okay, so we just want to leave them big.
Let's just drag him over to Razorstone Tavern, throw him inside, and shout out.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
This is our town now, motherfuckers. It is I, King of the Dwarfs.
With just a carved into their flesh, sand town for life.
That's right.
Sandside for life.
Oh man.
Sandside for life. Rock slide on the other one.
Well, whatever methods of destruction they're contemplating, I'm ready. I've left my mark.
Okay.
Honestly, now that we've taken out one of the local gangs, I kind of feel like we should start claiming some territory.
This is our corner.
Start charging tolls for people to come by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need
seems
you to pay us to go through this alley, and they're like, no, and you just point over at the pile of bodies. They also said no.
Nice.
Well, that is you know what? In Dark Sun, that's a viable business model. Anyways, so are you guys heading to the caravanserai?
Yeah, that's my plan. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine we kind of like put the bodies in a corner for it not to be easily discovered, and then we go, kind of thing.
But I'm trying to watch the whole way, making sure nobody seems to be following us.
All right. So yeah, you make it back to the caravanserai without anyone noticing you. Standing nearby is Ajni, who goes, hello? Can I help you?
Hi there, Ajni. Did Sandal set aside our room yet?
Oh, Sandal said that you might be staying in the boarding house. Yes. It's not free though, I'm afraid.
Look, there's a guy going around.
I've got
Nice.
6 dwarves who say it is. Okay, yeah. What's what would a room or a bed or whatever, however this is, however.
1 slate piece per individual.
You value my sleep 20% that of my animal.
Well, your animals we have to feed and water.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Here, I'd give them a handful of ceramic pieces matching the appropriate value.
Okay. And so yeah,
Did
you're
you just
shown.
pay for all of us? Or just you?
Oh, I
got
just gave them
slate.
10.
Alright, I'll give him a slate piece.
Yep, Corbin will do the same.
Right? So you're shown to your lodge again. Basically these it's basically mats on dried that are on top of dried grass. And yeah. You bed down for the night.
Yeah, I don't feel like going out after all that nonsense. So.
Yeah.
I think you did mention you wanted to check on to Kick before turning in for the night.
Right, I do want to do that.
Okay.
Briefly.
So yeah, you go up to Tikik, and Tikik is just right now sleeping, actually. Seems fine.
Seems fine, seems healthy. I'll check the wagon and just try to make sure that none of our stuff was stolen.
Yeah, nothing seems to be out of place. Everything looks good in your wagon. Corwin, you didn't actually consume your water for the day, though.
Ah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, he'll take it out of his personal stuff.
All right. And it's now about in both in real life, or at least where I am, and in the game, it's about 8 o'clock. Do you guys want to do any training or anything, or do you just want to go to sleep?
Definitely not any athletics training. So yeah, I'll just do the normal evening meditation on my dismal fate and horrible visions, and then go.
Okay.
I'll do
Joma?
a couple hours of reading.
All right. So Sirshu assists you further with your reading. You're getting closer to understanding, though you're still ways off.
Understandable.
Yeah. And so let's say that ends off for the day, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. So, Josiah, take us out.
We're done. Okay. All right then. Well, let me just close this out then for our YouTube viewers, our loyal and voluminous, that's probably not the words you should use there. Our loyal and multitudinous YouTube viewers. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Dungeons & Dragons. This has been The Shattered Crown with DM Scito.